You sat on the couch in the common room, popping chips in your mouth as you stared at the TV screen in front of you. It was 5 in the morning, and it was too early to wake up, but too late to go back to sleep. So you decided to just sit there until somebody woke up. You already went to bed late, and with the constant nightmares, it was extremely difficult to get a good amount of sleep for you to function the next day. It didn't help at all that you felt sick. This really wasn't going too well for you. But you couldn't just laze around. It's already hard keeping up with your peers, and missing even just one day could mess things up. Too engrossed in your thoughts, you then heard the rather loud footsteps of a certain spiky-haired gremlin. "Were you up so early, midget?" He wasn't as loud as usual, which was something you were thankful for. However, it still managed to snap your attention to him, making you flinch a little. You didn't know why he'd be up so early in the morning, but then again, he slept at 9, so you couldn't really question him. It was a healthy amount of sleep, unlike the amount you usually got. Couldn't sleep. If you were going to be honest with yourself, you only managed to get a solid 2 hours before you started getting hit by nightmares whenever you tried to go back to sleep. It honestly felt like you were cursed. So you just sit here? Idiot. You laughed a little, closing your eyes to relax them a bit, hoping it will make you feel better. "Coffee or tea?" he called from the kitchen, which made you blink and stare at him a bit in confusion. He wasn't usually so generous. He must be in a good mood then, or he's planning to kick someone's ass later. You decided not to question it, slowly walking over to him, tripping twice on your way to the damn kitchen. Going to school doesn't sound like a good idea now, but it was too late to do anything about it. You can manage. "Tea, please." He nodded, watching you rest your head on the kitchen counter. He huffed, shutting off the stove as the kettle started whistling. He got used to that, knowing how much it upset Todoroki. You admired that in him, how he deeply cared about his friends. He sure sucked with words, but he had his actions to show for it. "What kind?" he said, a bit louder. "Maybe it's because you looked so sleepy." "Black," he mumbled, smiling as you watched him move around and make the tea. There was a lot about Bakugo Katsuki that you liked, aside from the fact that he was literally good at everything he did. He slid your mug over to you, and you took it in your hands. It was hot, but not too bad really. You liked to hold it when it was hot because it made you feel warm, like hugs did. You really needed one right now. The two of you sat down on the couch, to which he gave you an irritated sigh for sitting next to him, which just made you chuckle, because I'd seen him do it whenever one of his friends would follow him around or sit next to him. "Thanks," you said, looking at your hands, trying to avoid his gaze. "Whatever. You should get more sleep. I don't have to carry you back if you pass out." You felt your face burn slightly, nodding. He was concerned, at least a bit. Maybe you're just telling yourself that, but still. It was a lot coming from Bakugo out of all people. You finished your tea, gently putting it down on the table and getting up to make a sandwich. Bad choice. Actually, a horrible one. Black coated the edges of your blurred vision as you swayed. If you had an ounce of self-preservation, you would have remembered how horrible it was to stand up too fast. Yet here you were. Bakugo caught you before you could fall, then picked you up, going upstairs. Hey, what the heck? You wanted to thank him for catching you, but you were also extremely confused. Why was he doing this? Actually, what exactly was he doing? "I'm taking you to your damn room, dumbass," he growled, but it still sounded surprisingly affectionate coming from him. "I'm okay, really. I just stood up too fast. It was the truth, right?" "Huh? You can't even stand up. What are you going to do when you go to class?" You had to admit, he was right, and the fact that he was doing this for you was nice. It was hard to say no to him, especially when he was doing, well, this. You huffed in defeat, because as much as you hated resting, you needed to rest. It wasn't like you'd be able to do much when you went, but you're still worried. He gently put you down in your bed, and you couldn't help but blush. He was cute? I'd kill you if you heard that, though. "I'll give you my damn notes. Just go back to sleep while I'll tell Aizawa Sensei. But don't think I'll do that again. This is just a chance for you to fix your messed up sleep schedule." His voice was a bit softer as he looked away from you, a light blush on his cheeks. Damn it, Kirishima. She'd hear his advice was working, but he hated how hard it was. Being soft, he wasn't the best with that. He needed more practice. But how does one do that? Okay, I'll do that. I promise. Thank you, I mean it. You grinned softly at him, blushing brighter. He's giving you his notes. Isn't that great? Maybe you can spend extra time with him later. And you'll also get your sleep. Maybe then you can tell him and maybe he likes you back too. Hopefully. He looked back at you, his expression softening as he saw you grin. Sure. He sighed, unfolding your blanket and draping it over you. You should really watch more movies with raccoon eyes and Don's face. Maybe then it wouldn't be so hard. You smiled softly at him, the warmth of your blanket and your exhaustion running you over as your eyes closed, were breathing slower as you began to drift off to sleep. He stared at you for a bit, to make sure you were going to sleep, then left quietly. You yawned, hugging your blanket closer, whispering, I love you. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more. Goodbye!